Hi, guys. Welcome back to Storytime Society. So happy that you're here. So happy to have you on this earth. Um, Happy Tuesday morning. My house is an actual mess right now. Like my room, pigsty. We're packing, so we have so many boxes in the living room. We have like stuff everywhere, and we thought that we were going to be moving this coming week or this last weekend on Saturday, but we're actually moving this Saturday, and our lease is up the next day. So we have to have everything out within a day. Our lease starts at our new place on the 19th, and then our lease here is up on the 20th. So we're like literally going to be scrambling, but I like to get it done all in one day anyways, so it's fine. And I'm just going to be happy to be in the new place. And yeah, I've been packing literally everything. And honestly, it just doesn't feel like we have that much stuff, but most of it is like big stuff, which my boyfriend and his brother will be dealing with. So thank God. But, so get your drinks out. I have my electrolytes today. I had a coffee this morning, so I'm trying to, balance a little bit. And I've been seeing so many people doing the carnivore diet. Okay, I hate like trends with diets, but I always fall victim. I always do because I always see like, oh, there's so many benefits. And then I see this one where it's like hormonal benefits and it like helps to lower your cortisol levels or whatever. And I'm like, am I about to be eating steak for breakfast, lunch, and dinner this week? Because I'm trying to balance my cortisol levels. And I am literally stressed every single day. I've told you this before. I've told you guys this before. And obviously, like, a lot has to do with the fact that I have anxiety. And lately, my stressor has been like, I'm making up that we're not going to be able to move into our apartment. Like, I'm making that up in my head because there's not even like a single valid reason to think that. So that's one thing I've been stressing about for no reason every day. So I had to call the girl this morning. I was like, I'm just going to call Patricia, which is the girl's name that like showed me the leasing agent. I don't know, the property. I don't know. She works in the office for this apartment complex. And I was like, I'm just going to call her and make sure everything's good. And she's like, yeah, everything's good. Like, I can send you guys over the lease today or in a couple days. And I'm like, you can just send it as soon as possible so that I can just get my name down on it, you know? And then another thing is my cat, Frankie. You've seen him before. He has been a special guest once. I think he put his face in front of the camera. He's my orange kitty. He is somehow he's just always having something wrong with him. Like, not really, but like kind of. Like, he's always just tricking me. And like, he used to always like close one eye, and I was like, what's wrong with your eye? But then like nothing was wrong with his eye. And now it's like, so this random patch above his eye developed last week. It was so random because it just happened overnight. It was like a big chunk of hair just fell out, and it was just his skin. Like, he was bald in this like section. And I was like, he's done this before when he was a kitten. He rubbed his head up against the corner of our glass shower door, and it like it didn't even like break the skin, but it like made him bald in one area. And I was like, maybe he did that again. But then like it just kept getting worse. And I'm like, there's no way he's going in the bathroom and just rubbing his head up against the shower, like the corner of the shower, especially because we've been closing it now to make sure that like none of them do that. And it was small, and now it's getting bigger, and now it's swollen. And so I had to call the vet, and I'm like, I need an appointment stat tomorrow, because at first I was like, oh, it's probably just like he rubbed his head up against something and it came off. But then now it's looking to be like it might be something like, and I'm just praying that it's not ringworm, because if all of my cats get ringworm, I'm going to be so annoyed, just because like having to give them like lime wash baths, and it seems like a lot to do to get rid of ringworm. And with three little kitties, that's going to be so annoying. But we'll see. I'm really hoping that it's just like maybe a hot spot or something, and I can put something on it. I don't know, but I've just been so stressed, and I've been like, ugh. I put some little antimicrobial, it's like meant to heal wounds on it for the past couple days, and nothing. It's like he just keeps irritating it even more. Like he'll groom that spot of his head and then it will open up and bleed. So I'm like, okay, well, that's really annoying. We're going to take you to the vet. So we have a vet appointment tomorrow, and I'm just hoping that it goes well because I just get so nervous, and I think of the worst case scenario. I'm like, what if it's cancer and then he dies, and then I'm literally distraught for the rest of my life. So anyways, now that I have literally vented to you guys and told you all my stress, we need good vibes. I need to wake up and start meditating or something because I'm too young to be stressing this much, for real. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this episode. Subscribe, like, comment, share with a friend. Join the subreddit. It's in the link below. And yeah, I think that's really all I can ask you to do. Ooh, that's like strong. Okay, so the first story that we have is girl I'm seeing, 23 female, clogged my toilet, 21 male, and now is ghosting me. Okay. I swear, this is not a joke. I'm mostly a viewer of this sub, but I guess now I need some real advice, haha. I met this girl about 3 weeks ago, and things really kicked off. We've hung out more than I can count, probably about 2 to 4 days each week, and been intimate 3 times. Friday night, she was over, and while watching a movie, she went to use my restroom. I noticed she was in there for an unusual amount of time, and at that point, I started hearing what sounded like sobbing. I knocked on the door and she frantically ran to lock it and said I couldn't come in, while certainly crying. I asked what was wrong, and after repeating the question a few times and even trying to leave her alone, thinking she was having some sort of female emergency, she opened the door, ran to my bedroom, grabbed all of her things, and ran out my door. I soon found out she took a shit and the toilet must have clogged. My toilet clogs very easily, so there was a plunger, which she had tried to no avail. She must have tried to flush way too many times as the water had completely overflowed, leaving several chunks of shit all over the floor with disintegrating toilet paper. She also seemingly tried to clean it up, desperately using both of my bath towels and 2 bathroom mats, which were now soiled in poop water. It took me maybe 2 minutes to unclog the toilet, another 40 or so to clean the bathroom, and some time to get the smell out. I initially didn't text her for like 2 days because I was pretty upset about the way she reacted, but she's really sweet and very attractive in my opinion, and I genuinely enjoyed the time we spent. So I reached out to her Monday morning asking if she wanted to meet to talk things over. It's been almost 2 days and she hasn't replied, and prior, she rarely even took more than 2 to 4 hours to reply, so I'm fairly certain she doesn't want to see me again, either because of the way I reacted or out of embarrassment. I really, really do like her, so if there's a chance of saving this, I'm all for it, but at the same time, I'm not going to beg for her to talk it out. Is there anything more I can do or say, or do I cut my losses? The way that would be me, I would be literally running out of that apartment so fast. That would be so, like, I would be top tier embarrassed. The fact that she used 2 bath towels and 2 bathroom mats, like, if she did end up cleaning it up with that, what was she planning on doing with the 2 bathroom mats and the 2 towels? Was she just gonna leave it there like shitty towels and shitty bath mats? But I cleaned it up. Like, sorry, but that is crazy. Also, I know that like when you clog a toilet, it's really unexpected. Like you never know what's gonna happen. Like if you try to flush, you're like, it could literally overflow at any moment. But the way that I would be so nervous that I would literally try unclogging that toilet desperately with any pot, like low key might shove my hand down there and like try to grab whatever it is out of there if I clogged someone that I was like just starting to see's toilet. And like honestly, I hate to admit that I would do that, but before I would ever let that shitty poopy water flood his bathroom with chunks of poop everywhere, I would most likely be sticking my hand down there to try to unclog the toilet if the plunger wasn't working. I definitely would not be flushing it because I know that when you flush a damn clogged toilet, that is probably the worst mistake that you can make, especially multiple times. Like maybe once and then the water rises really high and you're like, oh fuck. But then it's like stays there and you know that if you flush one more time, like it's over. So, but I'm sure she was just in a panic and she was like, oh my God, I need to get this out. But I do think that the way that he texted her, like, let me know if you want to meet up to talk. If he's saying he really, really likes her and he wants to like continue things with her, he should say that over text so that she doesn't think that he's just coming to like yell at her for clogging and putting poopy water all over his apartment. I feel like she needs some reassurance to feel comfortable enough. Otherwise, if that were me, yeah, ghosted, immediate ghost. Some of the comments say, okay, there's more to this than you're thinking. If you'd been at her place and clogged her toilet, making a massive mess, you'd have been embarrassed, but it's next level for women because there's a ridiculous amount of the population that thinks women should never burp, fart, shit, and that our periods are disgusting and shameful. This is something women grow up fearing and feeling bad about. It's hard to explain if you haven't been through it. Imagine your embarrassment in the same situation, then multiply it by 1,000. She thinks you think she's disgusting, period. She's berating herself and wallowing in shame. Not because she left a mess, but because now you know she shits. I'm not kidding. Put yourself in that mindset. Then reach out to her and tell her it's not a big deal. If you two stay together, you'll go through way worse than this. And if you have kids, the smell of their baby poop will make the stench in your bathroom smell like it was a bed of roses in comparison. If you care about her and this hasn't changed that, tell her. Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying. Like, 100%. Okay. There's an update. 3 days later. This is July 5th. I hope everyone that saw the last post somehow finds this update because I received some great advice and honestly, y'all are cool as hell. I decided to incorporate most of your texts and texted her one last time, pretty much saying that she shouldn't beat herself up too much and don't worry, shit happens. I kid you not, 2 seconds later, she dislikes the text, then sends me a paragraph that she likely typed up beforehand. It was just a long-winded apology, mostly about how she reacted. I called her right after and she found the joke pretty funny, and I could tell she felt pretty bad. We previously had 4th of July plans to watch the fireworks from my apartment rooftop, and she decided to come over with a set of fresh towels. Haha. She was still a little awkward, which I guess makes sense, but all it took was a little alcohol to get her back to normal. Thanks again for all the tips. I guess I just needed to give her time and make light of the whole situation. Someone commented, I would have to move country. Peter no longer exists. Only Pedro. Slightly related story, a friend of mine was visiting her in-laws when the toilet wouldn't flush. Her mother-in-law said, oh, that happens, here's a bucket. So my friend, being unaware of how a bucket might help in that scenario, reappeared in the living room with the bucket containing her poo that she had manually extracted from the toilet. Her mother-in-law then let her know she was to fill the bucket and pour it into the back of the toilet. She almost died from embarrassment just retelling the story. No, there's no way in hell I would be putting my shit in a bucket and handing it to someone. I'd be like, there's no way this is what she meant, right? Like, that's so crazy. Yeah, honestly, I never really heard it put like that, like how the girl was saying, like in society, it's so like taboo. Like girls don't poop, they don't fart. And some even girls like say this like in an almost serious way. Like obviously they're not serious, but they're like, what do you mean? Like girls don't fart? And I hate that. I'm like, yes, I do, actually. And I also poop. And I also, like, I don't know, burp. Okay, come on, like, get a grip. But yeah, I just don't think it's comfortable to poop in front of anyone. Like, I don't know. That's just I feel very vulnerable when I'm going poop. So I would just rather not. Like, I fart in front of my boyfriend, obviously, and I just don't hold back because you're going to have to deal with it for the rest of your life. So you might as well get used to it. And also, he's like ripping ass. So I'm like, don't even expect me to make my farts dainty or anything like that, because if you're doing that in front of me, why can I not do that in front of you? Which he obviously never complains about. But like if I do like a loud one, he'll look over at me like, oh, and I'm like, be for real, because you know yours are 20 times worse, so don't even try. Don't even. But yeah, it's so interesting that that's like become a thing in society. Like Let's be totally honest with ourselves. Come on. Come on. Like, I know, I don't want to imagine, like, in the beginning of liking someone, what I used to do if, like, I ended things with someone that I had, like, talked to for a little bit, but, like, it never became serious, is I would literally think about, like, them pooping, and then I would be, like, start being kind of disgusted by them. Even though, like, obviously, okay, it's a normal human thing, but that was, like, a trick that I used to use, especially in high school when I, like, had a crush on a guy and he, like, didn't want anything besides, like, to hook up. I would literally just be like, okay, well, I'm just gonna think about you taking a poop then, because that's disgusting. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, I forgot that I actually saved, for some reason, the subreddit wasn't working today, so I had to save instead of repost. Oh my gosh, but that's a very lighthearted story. We love the lighthearted stories sometimes because sometimes they get crazy and scary. Okay. I think we're going to read this one. All right, ready. The title is My 30 female spouse, 35 male, has been acting incredibly strange. Do I need to help him or do I need to escape? Sorry about formatting. I'm on mobile and I'm really shaken up as I write this. My 30 female spouse, 35 male, has been experiencing behavior that has only become increasingly concerning. In the past 2 months now, he has been talking about things that he claims are happening, but he's never mentioned before. As some background info, when his behavior first started getting concerning, I managed to convince him to go to the hospital to get checked out for his mental health. He wasn't even seen by a doctor, and he was told he just needs to take a certain medicine to help him sleep. The issue is, he also smokes weed, so this medicine does not mix well with that. He won't quit smoking. We also have 2 very young kids. Back to the weird recent behavior. He claims he had an old email with an inheritance that got hacked and he needs access to it. I tried helping him get on it, but he hasn't used it in literally the 12 years that we've been together. I only knew of its existence previously when I helped him switch his Facebook login, and that was an email attached. Another example is that he believes everyone is talking about him to me and everyone else. I mean, literally everyone else. He thinks there's some sort of big thing planned to hurt him or do something horrible to him soon, and that we're all in on it. On a few other separate occasions, he's asked about a show that we're on and asked how much money I'm being paid to keep a secret. He also thinks I'm having secret phone calls and that I've apparently left the room to accept these calls, which then results in me coming back crying about something I've apparently discussed on the phone. Whenever I try to explain to him that none of this is happening, he fights back saying that I'm just trying to lie to him and to tell him the truth, that I need to tell him the truth or something bad is going to happen. It's gotten so bad he ended up getting fired from his job because he was barely showing up. He kept going to the cop station to make a report instead of going to work. After he got fired, there was some sort of tense situation where they ended up calling a wellness check for him because they were afraid he's going to come back and hurt someone. The cops showed up while I was also home and said he wouldn't hurt someone. He only acts in defense. In the recent weeks, he's gone from screaming at me, demanding answers, to just not talking to me at all. At this point, I just rather he not interact with me. The reason I'm writing this is because of what happened today. It was a nice day out, and I asked if he would come with me for a walk with our kids, to which he agreed to. He barely spoke a word to me or the kids on this walk, and when we came across the playground, I asked if we should take the kids there for a few minutes to play. He then got upset at me for suggesting it and said, I always control everything, and I'm the queen of decisions. I didn't even tell him we were doing that. I just asked. When I mentioned this, he just said, do whatever you want, like always, so I figured why not. So I played with the kids at the playground, and he did his own thing. Someone left a couple various balls there, and he was throwing them around. He then picked up the football and threw it in my direction. It flew past me a couple feet from me. I asked why he did that, and he said, why are you upset? It didn't hit you, to which I responded, well, what if it did? And then he said, if I wanted to hit you in the head, I would have thrown it that way. Then he started on a rant about how he's going through the same thing with everyone lying to him, after which he sat down in the corner of the park and was doing literally nothing. I was getting upset, so I packed up the kids and started walking to leave the park. I said to him, we're going home, and started walking away. Apparently, he tried to yell out to us, but ended up taking a different way home than we did. He told me this when he met me on the street when we were almost home, saying that next time I want to be an idiot and walk away, maybe stop and listen for calling him out. I didn't hear him, but honestly, wait. Maybe stop and listen for him calling out. I didn't hear him, but honestly, he could have easily caught up to us. I was getting more and more upset and said I wanted to go for a drive to get coffee, and he said fine. I said I wanted to take the kids, and he asked why. Then I said, fine, you stay home with them, and he said, no, they can go with you, and started putting them in the car. I got in the car and he got in the passenger seat, to which I asked him if he's coming with. He said yes and to drive. I told him I didn't want him coming with because he's being mean, and he said he could be a lot meaner. As I started driving away, he kept going off on the usual BS he's been talking about lately, and I told him I don't want to hear it. He started screaming at me to keep driving and shut the F up. I stopped the car and told him to get out, and he made a motion like he was going to punch me, but punched his hand in front of my face. At this point, I started crying and yelling at him to get out, and he yelled back, no, just drive. I then said I should just drive him to the police station for that, and he said he would choke me unconscious before we even got there. I was crying even more at this point and said I don't want to be with him anymore and I want him out. He said no. He continued to be a dick for the rest of the car ride, where I pleaded with him to not treat me this way, especially in front of our children. It's not fair to them or to me. He said to not bring them into this. I said, how couldn't I? They are literally in the car. Anyway, after I drove us home, he asked how long I've been waiting to break up with him and who I'm replacing him with. I told him I haven't been and there's no one else, which of course he doesn't believe. When he got inside, he even taunted me saying, I should take you to the cop station, in a girly voice. He's outside smoking and I'm inside with the kids writing this. Of course I'm shook up currently, but I don't know what to do. We only have the one vehicle, which is in both of our names. The place we rent is actually my mom's, so we don't have a lease, but we both have our address attached to this place on our licenses. He hasn't always been like this. Literally only the past couple months, his behavior has been this bad. I miss the person that he used to be. I miss that he would spend time with me, with the kids, but he spends all his time by himself now. I don't know if he's going through some sort of manic episode or what's triggering this change in behavior, but I really don't know what to do. Is there something differently I can do to help him? Every time he talks to me about whatever situation, he doesn't accept any answer I say, and also won't accept if I say nothing. Edit. I just wanted to update and let you all know that we're safe. I'm sorry for not saying anything sooner. I'm a bit overwhelmed with how popular this post got, and we'll give an actual update later. Thank you for the advice in the comments as well. I will mention a couple things. We are not in the US. Where we are, marijuana is legal, so my spouse does get it from the government-run dispensaries. I don't think there's a chance his stuff gets laced aside from the fact that he mixes cigarettes with it. A lot of people mentioned meth. There's just no way. He doesn't go anywhere random. He doesn't talk to people outside of our household, aside from the few times he would go to the police station. I have his location on his phone so I can see where he goes when he leaves. I do think that the question to begin with was that, do I need to get him help or do I need to escape? And I do think that she needs to get him help. I mean, obviously, like, it's very, very concerning behavior, but all of this lines up with a person that is close to me that had a manic episode and is diagnosed with bipolar, and it's sounding very, very similar. Like, the making things up, like, being super, super paranoid and making up scenarios where, like, oh, everyone's talking about me and everyone is going to hurt me and there's someone is like this, everyone's planning something against me. This, like, all is something that I've experienced with this person before. They had those exact symptoms, saying, like, all those paranoid things, and then also being violent, but not to the point where he actually committed anything violent, if that makes sense. Like, it seemed like he was close to being violent, and he would threaten violent things, and he was going through a very, very bad manic episode at that time. And I'm no scientist and I'm no doctor, but whenever he would do drugs, I forget which drug that he was doing that night. I think it was like shrooms or something. I don't know. But that like brought out a manic episode. And he had also stopped taking his meds at the time, I think. And yeah, that had brought out a manic episode. First of all, the reason that he got like diagnosed with bipolar in the beginning was because a drug was like early, brought it out early, if that makes sense. I don't know like the scientific terms, but he, like, I guess he had it in his brain, but it wouldn't have come out, or at least they don't think it would have come out if he hadn't done this like certain drug that made it come out early. I don't know if that makes sense, but that is just the knowledge that I have. And yeah, it sounds like he might be experiencing a manic episode. I was thinking like schizophrenia at first, but I don't know anything about schizophrenia other than like hallucinations and stuff. But I'm sure there's like a lesser version of schizophrenia. I don't know. I literally don't know anything about schizophrenia because I've never dealt with anyone with schizophrenia. And I've only heard like things about it, which obviously I feel like a lot of the times it's always exaggerated when you hear things about it. Like it's like, especially like in movies, like they always make it so exaggerated, and it's probably, I'm sure there are people with that like terrible of side effects. Is that what it's called? Symptoms. But I'm sure there are people with lesser symptoms as well. But yeah, I just feel like movies always, I don't know the word I'm looking for, but they always like exaggerate it, and sometimes even to the point where it's not even like, it's very it's upsetting the way that they portray some mental illnesses, like specifically in, oh, what's the movie? Split. That was really sad for like the people that have dissociative identity disorder, because they were just making it seem so terrible. Like that whoever, like if you have this disorder, you're going to switch personalities and become like a monster and like a killer, which is so sad to me, because a lot of people do think that about that disorder. A lot of people, they're very misinformed, because it's obviously a very, I'm going to say this lightly, rare. I'm pretty sure it's not that common. It could be, let me know, but I'm pretty sure it's not that common. And so there's not a lot of information about it or like awareness about it. And so it's very sad when movies do that. Like, even, this is a completely different thing, but like even with like sharks, how they make like Jaws, and they make like certain movies to make sharks out to be like these terrible killers that are just after you. That's just not the case. And a lot of people think that. And obviously there are shark attacks, but like it's not because they want to, like, they're hunting out humans. Like, they actually don't like the taste of humans usually, and they don't like, once they bite you and they taste the human taste, they like don't like it, and they're like, oh shit, because they like usually get it confused with thinking that it's some sort of prey that they would normally eat. And yeah, it's just really sad how movies always depict things in such just a bad light, like things like that, and then it makes you think that these people that have these disorders or mental illnesses are all like this, and like this person's literally going to turn into like an actual monster. I remember watching that movie. It was a really long time ago, but I'm pretty sure at the end he like actually transforms into a monster, right? In one of his personalities. I don't know, but it was actually insane, and I'm sure that a lot of people are extremely misinformed about that, about dissociative identity disorder now. But that's Hollywood for you, I guess. Okay, the top comment says, I just want to say I was that terrified kid in the back seat. Absolutely traumatizing. My mom always came up with an excuse as to why we couldn't leave the house or leave dad. Made me suffer for many years of my life, and I'm 28 years old trying to deal with the trauma it has given me. Please stop making excuses and leave. Get out for the kids. My mom never did, and it truly has ruined my mental health. Yeah, I feel bad because, like, I do think that, but then at the same time, I'm like, but he could possibly be really struggling with a true mental illness, you know? And like, I don't know, personally, I would feel very bad. But I guess like I mean, I don't know. I would just probably get him 5150, honestly. And hopefully that will change his like that will help him realize that he is having those problems, and then like he will want to quit smoking marijuana and kind of get better and go on medicine to regulate his chemicals in his brain. But like I do understand where this like commenter is coming from, because obviously it's like that's very traumatizing for the kids. Okay, different details but similar results for me. Persistent childhood trauma is effing debilitating. I'm mid-30s now and just now finally beginning to actually heal, but it has been hard, and it's honestly a miracle that I'm still alive. You should absolutely get out for yourself, but there's no excuse to not get out for your kids. Witnessing this over and over again will break them. I will never get the past 3.5 decades back. No redos. Oh, I'm sad. Yeah. I don't know, that's just so hard, just because I just feel for people that have undiagnosed mental illnesses, and when they go to the doctor, they just say, "Here, take this sleeping medicine. It will make you all better." When that's actually not the case, and it's probably something much worse, obviously, because that's not helping. Okay. So, let's read this one. Okay. How do I, 26 female, leave my husband, 32 male, after I learned of his affair with his students, 6 male, mom, 22 female? My 26 female husband, 32 male, had an affair with one of his students, 6 males, mom, 22 female, Cynthia. Since the affair, I've tried multiple times to leave. I've tried to leave after work. He had a hidden tile tracker in my car, so my Apple Tag reader didn't pick it up. He's cried to me while trying to leave. He refuses to let me go to the grocery store, walk our dog, or sometimes even use the bathroom alone. I don't recognize this person anymore, and I'm terrified. He and Cynthia began chatting due to her son's IEP for autism, and things have only escalated from there. A few weeks ago, Cynthia tried to unfortunately take her own life, and being a true stand-up guy, my husband visited her almost every day at the hospital. She essentially had a nervous breakdown. During this time, I was so proud of my husband for being there for a single mother and her son. It's hard to be a single parent. My dad was one, and I knew the challenges it comes with. I don't get jealous easy, and was glad he was making friends on his first year of being a teacher. In the coming weeks, he grew closer to Cynthia and became more critical of me. It came to a head last weekend. I went camping with my sister and her kids out of town. He said he had projects at the house he wanted to work on, and so he only joined us for the last day of the trip. When I returned home, our house, and particularly our bedroom, was in a state of disarray, like things had been shifted and moved ever so slightly and in an odd manner. We have a trash can in our closet, and there was a used condom waiting for me at the top of the trash. Then, when I took his car to the car wash, there was a woman's shoe in the back seat. While he was in the shower, he left his phone charging, where I saw the evidence. Cynthia made the first move around the time she was released from the hospital. She was very forward and evidently didn't care if I figured out. My husband denied her only twice before he got with the program. I feel disappointed and disgusted, but took screenshots of it all. I even secretly recorded when I confronted him about it. He screamed, he cried, he swore he'd never do it again. He said he'd get tested. My moods have cycled through phases of rage, depression, and numbness. I don't know who this man is anymore. He won't let me leave. He said he won't give up on us. He's been trying to emotionally manipulate me into feeling guilty or sympathy for him, but I simply can't. I feel nothing. My husband and I have been together for 8 years and married for 1 year, by my choice. How can I even begin to trust this man anymore? I sometimes think it'll be better if I sleep in my car than to be in the house with him. The top comment says, do you have family or a friend who can get you out of his hands? That's dangerous behavior and you are not safe. Or call the police, but you must go. Absolutely, she needs to find a safe way to leave ASAP. The situation is really dangerous and calling the police might be the best option. No one should live in fear like this. Attorney is the first step. He will walk her through how to approach the police and exactly how to describe the situation. My husband put an AirTag in our shared car. will be taken very differently than my ex, who I'm in the process of divorcing, planted an AirTag on me to track my movements, having her attorney there to verify that the divorce is taking place with help. There's so many things that I feel like not me personally can relate to, but that I've like had very close people in my lives that have experienced things like this. Like someone very close to me, actually, their husband planted an AirTag in their car after they were already going through the like divorce process, and it was so creepy. Like so creepy, because everywhere we would go, this man's would show up. Everywhere. Like I would literally cuss him out. I would cuss him out. But I was the only one. So I consider myself a nice person until like I know that what you're doing is wrong, and I know that like this situation just isn't right. And then I become a bitch, and I will be a bitch to you. Especially if you're hurting someone, let alone stalking someone close to me, and I am there as well, and I'm also feeling very, like, it makes me feel like I'm being stalked, and I'm good on that. Like, thank you very much. I will get a restraining order against you if I have to. And I literally said that to him. I was like, I will get a restraining order against you, son. So, but every single time I would just like cuss him out, and he'd be like, this is not, like, you're not in this situation. And I'd be like, I am right now, because you literally came to the place that I'm at. I am in this situation because you're standing right there, because somehow you tracked the location, and I am at this location, and I don't feel safe being stalked. So please, if you could leave the premises. But I would always, yeah, I don't know. I would say some choice words, but I don't know. I just, maybe I shouldn't be that way, but that's just how I am. And I just feel like I hate when people don't stick up for themselves. And like, I understand that not everyone does or feels like they can, but I am very much the person that will stick up for myself and will stick up for other people. And maybe I go about it the wrong way, because I definitely will feel passionate about it. But like, it bothers me so much when people are doing something so wrong, and it's just so obvious, like, this is so wrong, and no one's saying anything about it. I will say something then. And I don't care, like, if I hurt your feelings, because if you're doing something wrong to someone that I care about, and also that I am like in the crossfire in this situation, I'm gonna say something, because you won't be messing with me, son. Please, for the love of God, don't be a stalker. Like, you're not gonna get your wife back by tagging her with an air tag. That's for sure. That is for damn sure. Like, for real, what do you think? That if you follow her around enough that you're gonna get her back? That's not how it works. So sorry. I know you think that it might be that easy, but it's just not. Okay, wait. Is this the update? Oh my God. Okay, if you guys, I'm sorry if you haven't watched all the episodes, but this is an update to one of the stories I read a couple episodes ago, and I'm really excited about this one. Okay. Update. My 30 female husband, 33 male, accused me of murder out of the blue. How do I salvage this? Firstly, thank you to those who helped me get to my husband's iCloud backups through an old iPad. I wasn't expecting much from Reddit, but I got valuable practical advice before my post was locked, and I appreciate it. There were no crazy or even suspicious messages. I've searched for over 100 terms and scrolled back over years. I saw a side of them I wasn't expecting, but nothing that explains the claim I murdered Laura over their chats. Nothing to suggest he was cheating, absolutely nothing to suggest incest. I repeat, no incest. No weird gaps where deleted conversations or a switch to another app would fit. Just siblings making plans, sending memes, and gossiping. They said unexpectedly horrible stuff about a few people, but not me. It was a sort of relief, but it raised more questions than it answered. I sought legal advice also from Reddit after posting here. Turns out my options are divorce him or sit down. I contacted my community mental health team, who said they'd reach out but made it clear it wasn't urgent. I then called his mom and said that if I didn't hear from him by this weekend, I would get a solicitor and ask for a mental health assessment as part of the divorce. In response, he made a ridiculous post to Facebook, which neither of us have used in years, and everything blew up. I'm going to try to keep this succinct. I'm going to try to keep this succinct. Sorry. On Friday night, he made a long accusation on Facebook with new information. He said he'd been planning to leave me for months with his sister's support, and I found the messages and murdered her. The coroner has reopened the case, and the police are preparing to arrest me. And he needs to make sure people know before the trial stops him talking about it. It was well written and seemed vaguely plausible. He messaged people links, so it got some attention. We live in our hometown and have a large circle of friends because we've been here all of our lives. People I haven't spoken to since school were reaching out to me asking what the F was going on. It was madness. In response, I posted the export of his entire conversation history with Laura, also to Facebook, when I finally got back in. I linked to the chat along with a post explaining my side and noting that I had changed my ex's iCloud and Apple passwords, and that if he wanted them back, he should comment on my post and update his own, admitting that he was lying. He eventually did. When I started getting messages about his post, I panicked, and changing his passwords seemed important to preserve everything because he'd know I had access. When I spoke to him the next morning, it's clear he's not having a mental episode at all, but is claiming one because he's been caught in a big lie. As soon as he was outed, he called me, clearly drunk, begging and promising to explain everything if I deleted my post. I hung up and told him to call me back the next day. He did, after many missed calls and texts, and he tried to bargain and guilt trip me with his mental health until it was clear the wrong people had seen his conversation. It's hard to describe, but it seemed fake. It was too well rehearsed, and then this morning, when it was clear he was getting nowhere, he blocked me. Begging for mercy and reciting facts about mental disorders doesn't align with someone in a crisis, with a sincere belief that someone murdered their sibling. The question of why he did all of this remains unanswered, and he will not be getting his passwords until it is. The legal advice subreddit said this stuff is technically illegal, but it's beneath a court to take action. So I'm going to count on that because I felt like I had no other choice at the time. And now I don't see any other way to get answers from him. I am desperate, and it's all I've got. So here we are. The relationship I have believed was my destiny since I was a teenager has boiled down to petty, convoluted, and vindictive bullshit played out on social media for reasons still unknown. My hope for a brain tumor is fading, and clearly tomorrow morning is going to be when I lawyer up and stop posting about this. I am mortified. I have no idea whether some people might believe him, and I still don't know why this all happened in the first place. Sorry I don't have a happier update, and thanks once again, everyone who offered advice. I mean, it sounds like he's guilty. Like, innocent until proven guilty, but it sounds like he's guilty. Who would go that hard accusing someone, especially their own spouse, that they murdered their sibling? And make up this whole elaborate story and post it everywhere and tell everyone that she's the one who murdered her, when first of all it was ruled an accident. So buddy, you're out of the clear too. Like, if you did murder her, case closed. It's already ruled an accident. They're not going to reopen it. You're good. Like, don't let your guilt eat you alive. I mean, for the love of God, you literally sound so guilty. But like, I don't know. That is just so odd to me. Wow, OP, I am so sorry. This is not the update I expected because it's even more bizarre. Can you provide more info on how people reacted and why he confessed to lying without explaining why? It was obvious his post was fake. Is that it? If he wanted a divorce. This is the dumbest way to ever go about it. I just can't understand his thinking at all. Again, I'm so sorry. What a nightmare for you. He didn't react at all. He'd call me tens of times at that point, and we'd have 5 conversations on the phone about it. He was laser focused on me deleting the chat log from the get-go. But when I made it clear that posting that comment and editing his original Facebook post was the only way to see progress, was the only way to progress was the only way to progress the conversation at all, he finally did it. Then he went silent publicly, as far as I can see, but continued begging me behind the scenes. What on earth is in those chats that he's so desperate to keep people from seeing, and that would conceivably lead you to kill someone? Is there any chance they were using some kind of code or something? I think it was the fact that it proved his story false, alongside the way they spoke about some people. It was really damaging stuff, and I can see why he panicked. I hated to do it to him, but I really couldn't think of anything else because so many people had questions. Maybe I just read too many murder mystery novels, but does he have a good alibi for his sister's death? The case had been ruled an accident by the medical examiner, so if he did do it, it would be so dumb to reopen the case, although he doesn't sound like he's the sharpest. This crossed my mind first. Why is he so adamant on blaming his wife like he has to find a perpetrator to divert suspicion away from himself? In another post, OP mentioned that at the time the sister was determined to have died. What? Oh. In another post, OP mentioned that at the time the sister was determined to have died, OP and her husband were both at home together. So aside from him having an alibi, he also is her alibi. Another point that makes it clear that he was intentionally lying. I thought she said she was working from home at the time, but she had also been out other places and called her mom, etc. when she got home. What if he somehow snuck out? See, I thought that for a second too, but she stated earlier that the case had already been ruled an accident and the police had moved on. Yeah, I don't know. This is so sketchy, but I feel like this is literally going to be a Netflix documentary because something is going to happen. Something is going to come out. I feel like something crazy is going to come out. Like, and somehow he was involved or something. I don't know. But that sounds so crazy. I mean, the fact that I forget what the original post said about them being like together at the time, but it sounds like they're saying that they are both each other's alibis. So like he knew for a fact that she didn't do it, and obviously he wouldn't have been able to do it either if she was with him. I don't know, but that's crazy. Okay. Well, that's the end of this story time, and I hope you guys really enjoyed. I'm very much looking forward to tonight's Love Island episode, and that's literally the reason that I'm living and breathing right now. 3-hour countdown right now. I'm so excited. You guys have no idea. If you guys watch it, I'm currently hoping that Leah and Rob are getting back together. In every episode for the past 2 weeks, I've been like, today's the day. Nothing. They don't even get even close to getting back together, but I'm like reading into all the signs. Like I'm on delusional TikTok right now. It's like people that are thinking the same thing as me. Like they look at the way he looks at her. He wants her back. She wants him back. Like they're going to get back together. That's literally me. But I hope you enjoyed, and I love you guys so much. And comment so that we can chat. Okay? XO.